Week 24, ELA W, pre-lesson deliverable. Again, coming live from the Upper West Side. So, back in class and action. Okay, so we've just had about 5 minutes to go over our do now. Pay extra close attention to this as we go over it because, as you know, tomorrow you're going to be having your grammar quiz, which is the last grade of the second trimester for ELA W, which is a grade that I know all of us are specifically worried about. And so this is your last chance to bring up that grade. And for a lot of us who like where we are, this is an opportunity for you to maintain a good grade so that you don't see it slip right at the last second. How devastating would that be? Okay, so this is, we're going to review two things. First is capitalization. That's something we've been doing recently. And then also we're going to go back to colons and commas, which is also going to be part of tomorrow's test. So let's have somebody read the first sentence, which is let's have someone read the directions first, actually. So go ahead, Biani, you read directions, correct the titles in each sentence, underline or add quotation marks as needed, capitalize words as needed. So not only are we doing capitalizations here, but we're also having to remember how titles should be framed. So let's say that there's something short. There's something like, okay, so I want to reference a poem. Let's say I want to reference On Turning 10 by Billy Collins. If I said that in a sentence, if I said I really enjoyed the poem On Turning 10 by Billy Collins, what should I do to On Turning 10? Raise your hand. Okay, and Josh says we should capitalize On Turning 10. That's exactly right. On Turning 10, and all of those words would be capitalized in this instance. What else should we do to that phrase, that title, to make sure that the reader knows that this is a short piece of art and it is not something like an extended piece of literature? How's the author going to know the difference? Okay, and we raise hands, and Sanaya says we should put quotation marks around that. Right, if it was a longer piece of literature, then we would underline that, something like a book. Okay, I think we're still going. So let's look at number one. Let's have a reader, and we call Melissa, and she goes, I took an AR quiz on James the Giant Peach. Now, raise your hand if you've read James the Giant Peach. Okay, is that a poem? Is that a short story? Is it a book? What is that? Go ahead, Gabriel, and you say it's a book, and you're right. Anybody read James the Giant Peach? I loved that book when I was your age, and the movie came out, just like you saw Wonder in the theaters. When I was in like 5th grade, we read James the Giant Peach, and then we all went to the movie theater to see it. It was amazing. But actually, I didn't love the animation, so I remember being kind of disappointed with the movie. It wasn't quite as good as Wonder. I'm getting off task. Anyway, James the Giant Peach. So what should we do to that? First of all, we should do what? Yes, we should capitalize James the Giant Peach. Now, the words and the don't need to be capitalized, but James, Giant, Peach, those nouns need to be capitalized. And what should we do? Should we underline that, or should we put quotation marks? Raise your hand if you like quotation marks. Raise your hand if you like it underlined. Now, thank you. The underlines have it. How would we know, even if you never read James the Giant Peach, how could you tell what context is given in this sentence that tells us that it would be a book and not just like a poem or a song or a picture? Only a couple of hands. Go! We're not always great at finding context. But go, let's have Uriel, please give us why. How do we know? Because it says an AR quiz. What do we take AR quizzes on? On books, that's right. So we know it's a book, so it should be underlined because it's an extended piece of literature. Next, number 2, did you see the YouTube video, Kid President Pep Talk? Now, this was one that I needed help with, and so I had to rely on the context of YouTube video. Because I've never seen Kid President Pep Talk. Has anyone here seen it? You have. I need to see it. It's funny? Okay. Tell me then. Raise your hand if you think it is that Kid President Pep Talk, which is all capitalized, raise your hand if you think that should be underlined. Raise your hand if you think it should have quotation marks around it. Quotation marks have it. Why? Because it's a YouTube video. That makes it a clip. That makes it short. That means that it should have quotes around it. What if, but it's not all videos, right? Like YouTube videos are generally kind of short. How about a movie? If we said Coco, okay, then that would be a long feature. That's something like a 2-hour movie. I have my own questions about Coco later, but that would be underlined because it's an extended piece of literature. And as I told you before, even a movie like that was written down at one time, and that script was probably 100 and some pages. Moving on. The next section, someone read the directions. And we go, okay, forgetting members of JMU. Back to Sanaya. Rewrite the sentence and use correct use of colons and commas. Ugh, easy for me to say. Now, what are we going to do? Where are we going to put our colons? After a complete sentence. Good. So we need a full statement to be said. Colon cannot come after a sentence fragment. It can't come after just a couple words. So that's, I want to kind of like rest in this space for a second and just really emphasize that, like, if you are using a colon, if you're questioning yourself, like, should I use a colon here? Then just look at all the words before the colon where you want to insert it and say, does that make a complete sentence? And if it does, and you're about to see a list of things, then a colon is probably appropriate. If that sentence is not complete, then do not use a colon. Let's look at number 3 as an example. It says, I like technology, phones, computers, and tablets. Okay, now, raise your hand if you think there should be a colon in this sentence. Good, we've got plenty of hands up. Now, I'm wondering where I should put that colon. Who can help me figure out where to put that colon? Amanda. After technology. Okay, so let's test Amanda's theory. So we put the colon there, and now let's try. Everything before the colon then needs to be a complete sentence. So let's read it. I like technology. Does that have a subject? Yes. What's the subject? I. Does that have a predicate? Yes. Like technology. Like is a verb, technology is the object of the sentence. And so, yes, this is a complete sentence. So we put the colon there, and then we had the commas. How many commas do we need? Show us with your hands. If you have 2 up, then you're correct. There should be a comma after phones and a comma after computers. So the complete sentence reads, I like technology, colon, phones, comma, computers, comma, and tablets. If you have something different, make the change right now.